Alright, so now we are going to finish up this chapter. We got hearing and your other senses. So our learning outcomes today is, how we sense sound. We're going to discuss smell and taste and distinguish between our skin senses. Alright, so sensing sound. Basically what sound is, it's just vibrations in the air that travel around whatever it is causing those vibrations, and they enter into your external ear, going down to your auditory canal, and there we'll talk about your different parts of your ears and what they are responsible for, and how we conduct those air vibrations into a electrical nerve impulse through a process called transduction that goes to your temporal lobe. Alright, so let me show you the areas of the ears. Alright. So right here we have the flappy part that extends out of your head. That's called the external ear. For our purposes, it's called external ear. And then this is your auditory canal. And this can be a somewhat tricky place in your ear. It can get dirty. You have to take care of it. You do not use Q-tips to clean out your ears. If you ever seen an old Civil War movie, you notice that they put gunpowder, and then what's the next thing they do? They put a giant Q-tip down there, packing it further down into the cannon, and that's basically what a Q-tip does with your wax and other stuff in your ears, is pack it further down against your eardrum, causing a problem with your hearing and so forth. It could get it so bad that you won't be able to hear much. In fact, you'll have to go to the doctor if it gets this bad, and they'll flush it out with water, and they'll come out with big gump. Earwax is important. It's something that needs to be in there. It serves as a way to, it's acidic, so fungus cannot grow in there, and we also have, it's also an insect repellent, because on occasion insects do get up in there, moths, crickets, you name it, it's all been in there, so you have to be, careful with your ears. In fact, just leave your wax alone, and your body usually takes care of it on its own by talking, yawning, and chewing. That up and down motion causes the wax to be slowly pushed out. Now, you could clean on the outside of your ear, just don't stick anything in your ear. Now, this is called the eardrum, but for our purposes, we're going to call it the tympanic membrane. And vibrations hit that and cause that's to vibrate like a drum would, and which causes these three tiny bones to vibrate right here. So we have all these together are called the ossicles. They're the three smallest bones in the human body. For our purposes, we're just going to remember the simple names to them. So the first one is called a hammer. The hammer vibrates the anvil right here. And then the anvil passes along the vibration onto the stirrup, which is right here. Okay? And the purpose of these ossicles is to amplify sounds, to make whatever you're listening to louder. And then it goes into what's called the oval window, into this snail shell looking thing. Now this is called the cochlea. And cochlea is where transduction happens, where we turn vibrations into electrical nerve impulses. Okay? Now, as we age, these hair cells die. Depending on how well you've treated your ears throughout the years, when you get to be elderly, well, you either have bad hearing or you have very bad hearing. And so we have to be careful on how we treat our cochlea here, because once these hair cells that do the transduction die, they are dead forever. And, as we age, your senses just get worse. It's just one of those things. And then above here we have the vestibular system, and inside this vestibular system are fluids to help us with our balance and positioning. You need both your ears and your eyes to have balance. If you ever get car sick or seasick or airplane sick, what's going on there is your 75% of your brain in some way subserves the visual system. Okay, so your brain instinctively trusts its eyes over any other sense. But when you're in the back seat and your eyes are facing forward, the seat's not going up and down. Okay, But your ears with the fluids is telling your brain, yes, we are going up and down. And so what's happening is your brain's getting contradictory information from your eyes and from your ears, which causes severe stress on the brain, and the brain can show itself being stressed by making you feel sick. Alright, so we are 14, 15. Alright, smell and taste. Olfaction, again, our sense of smell isn't impressive in comparison to other animals, but it's still very important. Another thing that's really kind of weird about your sense of smell is that it's the only sense that does not go through your thalamus before it goes to the other areas of the brain. It does serve some neurons with your temporal lobe, which means once you smell something, you tend to never forget it. The olfactory bulbs are way up in here into your skull. On this olfactory bulbs are olfactory cells. When air molecules come up in there, they kind of dissolve in the mucus, which triggers your olfactory cells for transduction. Okay. Taste. We have 4 basic tastes, but we can combine tastes to form different flavors and so forth. An important distinction that you need to understand is flavor is a combination of smell and taste. Without either one of those, you experience no flavor. Then, just like there's deaf people and blind people, there's people who can't smell, and there's people who can't taste. There's 4 big ones: the sweet, sour, salty, and bitter. And on our tongues are these little bumps, and these little bumps are called taste buds. And this is where transduction occurs inside our mouth. Skin senses, you have touch, pressure, temperature, and pain. Again, it goes up to your thalamus and then the somatosensory cortex in your parietal lobe, and there you experience all these senses. Now, the gate control theory of pain basically means this: that if you're experiencing, you've all done this. You ever get a headache and you rub your temples or rub your neck? Okay, that's the gate control theory of pain in action. And so what's happening is these non-painful impulses that rub your neck or rubbing your temples can't occupy the same space in the brain at the same time with your pain. And so what happens is it creates a bottleneck of senses going to these areas of the brain, and what happens is you feel less pain. Okay, perceptual organization. We're going to learn about laws of organization, top-down, bottom-down processing, perceptual constancy, explain depth perception, relate motion perception to daily life, and so forth. Okay, so here we have what's called the Figureground perceptual rule, Gestalt. Basically what it is when certain things stick out, like right here, you can see one or two things. You can see a vase in the white part, or you can see these two faces staring at one another. When you can make one come forward and the other one become the background, you will see it whatever way that you're seeing. So if I make the vase on the foreground and the dark parts in the background, you see a vase. If I make this vase into the background and this into the foreground, well, then I see two faces. Same thing with these other two. Right here you got a saxophone player. If you make this into the foreground, or if you switch it, this becomes a woman. And then we have Gestalt rules. Closure. Closure is when we put patterns together that are close to one another. Proximity. If things are similar, we like to group them together. And simplicity, wherever the easiest way there is. Too bad I don't. Oh, here's on the next one. Okay, so right here we got closure. Now right here we see a triangle, but there is no triangle. There is no triangle here. There is no line right here. This is completely blank. But we fill in the blanks and make by using closure. Here we got proximity. We like to group these two together. We group them in pairs, okay? Because they're the proximity to get to one another. Similarity, we got squares, circles, squares, circles, squares, circles. We like to group things that look similar. And simplicity is the simplest way possible, okay? All right, 21. Top-down processing is where perception's guided by higher level knowledge and thinking. All right, and bottom-up is when something triggers our stimulus or reticular activation system to be able to respond, and then it goes up to your brain where you make sense out of it. That one's kind of hard to understand, but that's all right. All right, perceptual constancy. When you look at your car, all right, when you look at your car in the morning, when it's bright, when it's night, when it's not bright, the color remains the same. Okay, I have a silver car. To me, in my brain, it's silver when I get into it when it's daytime, and it's silver when it's night when it's nighttime. But the constant color never changes for me, although the appearance of the color does change depending on the light. So this constancy allows you to be able to keep things constant, although the shading and the brightness changes over time. That perception is to be able to see in 3D. We have what's called forward-facing eyes. Any animal that wants to see in 3D has to have forward-facing eyes. Okay. Anything on the side, 3D is not their thing. Okay. So we have binocular depth cues, which means two eyes. Okay. And there's two types. There's retinal disparity, in which you have two eyes have a slightly different image than the other eye, and your brain combines these together to make one image. This is how we're able to see in 3D movies, where you notice that without the glasses, it's blurry. Okay, and if you want to, you can roll up a piece of paper and hold up to one eye with your eye open, the piece of paper. So this is my piece of paper, and the other eye over the other eye, and you'll actually make what appears to be a hole in your hand. Give it a try.
Okay. Yeah, do you have a knife?
How do we perceive motion? Well, we have these motion detectors inside our brain. We have our rods that kind of do the thing. And then finally, we have visual illusions. Illusions is when our perceptions are wrong. They are wrong all the time. Here's an example of these two lines are exactly the same length, but because of the way the arrows are pointing, this one appears to be longer. This one appears to be longer. This one appears to be shorter. Okay. I wish there was more to this PowerPoint, because I can continue going on forever. And by the way, this is called a Mueller-Lyer illusion. Okay. You look up the Ames room if you want to, or any kind of an illusion that's out there, and where our perceptions are wrong. And like I've said, our perceptions are wrong all the time. It's not facts. All right, thank you. Bye.